Hello and welcome to the RRR Spoilercast. I'm your host, Dr. Aggro, and joining me is a certain percentage of the crew. We've got Bob Video Games.
I have some sort of title card that has an R in it somewhere.
KZ Excellent.
I'm going to do something cartoonish in slow motion.
And Mr. Field.
I'm going to rise, revolt, and roar.
I'm glad you let me know in advance. All right, so on our spoiler cast, we have a general format. That's what I've been told. We're going to go around and give a brief two-sentence description of the thing, product, or media property we consumed, watched, or otherwise interacted with, followed by some sort of verbal description of how it made us feel inside. And I'd really like to start today with Bob.
Sure. RRR is a 3-hour insane movie that does things you would never expect any movie to do unless you were in Bollywood, and then I guess you would. I'm going to give it a huh.
All right. Moving on, KZ Excellent.
RRR was an intoxicating 3 hours of cinema. Involving mythical creatures they call man. I'm giving it a whoa.
And Mr. Field.
This movie really hates the British, which I agree with. Also, I'm now, after watching this, my life goal is to see every movie you could describe as maximalist. I'm going to give it an ooh.
As for myself, I consider, like, RRR is the first Bollywood movie I've ever seen, and I hope the one with the hardest to say title. It makes me angry at all of the years of WWE superstars being in movies that weren't structured exactly like this. It's kind of opened my mind to new horizons, and I'm going to give it a oh.
I dug into this film, and immediately I could see the minefield. When I go onto Netflix, and it says it's a Tollywood film.
And I'm like, what?
I'm sorry,
And
not
then
Bollywood, Tollywood. My bad.
Yeah, that confused me, because I was also like, is that a typo? Then I watched a video after I finished the movie to maybe learn a bit more about it. Is that there's Tollywood, Bollywood, Gollywood, Jollywood over there, just depending on like the area that it came from. There is in fact 2 Tollywoods. This is the good Tollywood.
Oh my god.
Apparently this is coming from the biggest filmmaker there, to where people started screaming at the trailer because these are the biggest actors in that region. Where it's just, apparently, according to them, this movie is huge because the 2 main actors are so expensive they couldn't appear in the same movie before.
You know, I knew nothing about this industry, but this movie did have that feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can tell that those are 2 stars of some sort.
This was the squad. This was the dream.
To say they both have incredible charisma would be an understatement.
Oh my god, these two. Let's just, like, these
This might
two
be
guys.
the greatest dudes rock movie of all time.
Right?
Yeah, I
This-
know. That the last act may be the coolest thing I've ever seen,
This is
especially while high.
like, not since Gilgamesh and Enkidu have we had 2 just buff bros with their super friendship conquering all adversity.
Yeah, I was that final act when they just let everything go. Like, there's no
Yes.
reality
That-
anymore. There's only
the-
Tollywood.
The scene that is on the poster of let me look at the characters' names, which I have to do here.
That would be Beam.
Yeah, not Beam, Raju,
Okay.
where he's riding on Beam's shoulders, dual wielding rifles.
Right?
Yes.
And every now and then he'll reach down so Beam can, like, cycle the bolt as a courtesy, but not all the time. Sometimes we just don't give a shit, and it's amazing.
That scene needs wider spread because it can cause a cultural reset.
The amount of flips and stuff they were able to do to land on that dude's feet while still in the Disgaea-esque tower they've created between the 2 of them.
This was like the 10th, I've never seen that before in an action scene of this epic. And by then, my mind had already turned to soup. like the opening of the movie is, it's interesting and it's melodramatic and it really sets a tone of this is more, and it really follows through the whole movie of this is less a factual record of events and more this is somebody telling you the myth of what happened here. And it's perfect because when Raju was chasing that guy through the market and he loses him and he meets Beam under the bridge and then the kid gets caught in the fire because the train exploded because this movie is amazing and something cool happens every 10 minutes. When
they
Beam
instantly
looks up,
lock eyes.
Yes, and they have this
and make
Chad
the plan.
telekinesis moment.
Yeah, and then he tells him his plan through hand signals that make no sense to anyone, but somehow they get this plan that's ludicrous.
Yes.
Of them driving a motorcycle and a horse off the side of this bridge.
Chad telepathy.
Yes.
I could not believe they're like, do it. The motorcycle will land in the ultimate spot it could.
He wraps himself in the flag to get through. I'm like, I thought only we made shit like this.
I need this, and I feel like a lot of blockbusters over here almost get the vibe that they're going for. I'll watch a Fast and the Furious thing. I'm like, this is becoming a cartoon. And now I see what a real cartoon looks like, and I'm like, we need to get here.
I will say, like that tone, there's a magic happening here that I think also happens in like professional wrestling and tokusatsu. And I said something years ago on some content. I don't remember what it was, but I made a firm declaration, and I stand by it here that Toku works because Toku fucking commits. It doesn't wink, it doesn't blink, and that's this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely committed.
Everything is being taken serious. Everything's taken very seriously so that I can lose my mind when the dude in the air does a spin, grabs a Bengal tiger, and throws it effortlessly at a group of people like it's bowling.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that really sells this is like, and the thing I thought of a lot watching this movie was the Yakuza series.
Yes!
Where it's like this is all treated as, and mostly is, at least within the realm of possibility. And then a guy picks up a motorcycle and starts hitting British people with it.
Yes. I heard it compared to, before I watched it, by I think the guy who founded Anime News Network said that it's like an entire Shonen Jump like run consolidated into a single movie.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I can see that.
Yes.
Like when they, after that scene with the insane bridge stunt we've been talking about, they grab hands, and then it becomes an anime OP about them, their friendship they just formed, which is going to have a horrible ending.
It's a musical mod, and the lyrics are just so literal.
Yes.
It's so good. They're like, Beam and Raja are both super chads, and they have a great friendship. Look at them having fun. I hope nothing terrible happens later.
Yeah. Some of the lyrics where it's like, the volcano has met the storm. Will they be allies, or will this cause the great cataclysm?
Holy shit.
And it's just two guys who apparently just have infinite ammo if they're using an arrow.
Yeah.
And infinite strength. And I think that is amazing. I'm like, dude, all your bones are broken, but somehow you've just become Rambo in this forest scene because you got your two wounds wrapped up.
Just like in Baki, someone can get every bone in their body crushed, and then they had a nap, so they're fine and ready to fight tomorrow.
Look, that's one of the things that the British Empire brought to India when they took over. They brought the world's best doctors.
So, like, I think this movie opens so unbelievably strongly because it opens with the little girl painting on the obviously evil rich British woman's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband, who might be the most evil looking British person ever put into a film.
Yes.
Who like comes in with like a cigar and a rifle on his shoulder, presumably because he has been hunting other human beings. That's really how it comes across.
Can I talk about that rifle?
Sure.
Because everybody else, like it's the 1920s thereabout. Like they tag it in one of the transitions.
Yeah, I think it's like 1921 somewhere around
everybody's got like Lee Enfields and shit, like advanced bolt action rifles. He rolls up in this scene with his beautifully engraved trap door. It looks like a Martini Henry, because that's a way more evilly associated Imperial British rifle. They just had to go the next step.
And then, so the evil husband is like, well, who painted that lovely thing on your arm, my dear wife? And they all speak. This is something that will tickle the shit out of aggro. Every single British actor in this is Irish.
Oh my god, that is the best.
Oh my god, you fucking nailed it.
Because he's like, yeah, we know how to play this.
Right?
It's really funny looking at the credits, and they're like, this main evil British man is one of the characters in multiple Thor films, and I'm like, I've never seen you before. You must be one of Thor's shitty friends.
But he comes back. He's like, who painted this lovely thing? And his evil wife is like, oh, that little girl. So he throws some money at the mother and just takes the child.
He gets his butler to throw some money at the mother.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
And the money is two coins, and immediately they're like, hey, they just thought the thing you were doing was cool, and they just wanted to tip you.
No, we're taking this child. So the mother throws herself in front of the car to stop her child from being taken. And the evil British soldier who has a fucking pith helmet on, maybe the most evil accessory in human history, pulls out his pistol and points it at her head and is about to shoot her. And then the evil British governor gets out and gives one of the most deranged villain speeches I've ever heard, which is like the theme words of the movie. It keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Or he's like, do you know how much money the bullet in your gun costs? It was made by English manufacturers in England and shipped on an English ship to here. By the time it reaches your gun, it's worth £1 and you're going to use it on this woman? So instead, he picks up a giant stick and just fucking brains her.
Just the idea, it's like, one of our English bullets is worth more than one of you.
But Agro, you're the history buff here. Would the English really do this? Would they really be evil in India? I just don't know if this is believable.
Okay. Now, I was thinking about that I was actually going to have to do this during this podcast. And I decided that my answer to this question would be, were all British people like this? No. Do I doubt that any British people were like this? No.
I mean, we like, all you have to do is read up what Christopher Columbus did when he was made the governor of whatever fucking Caribbean island he was made governor of.
God damn it.
All you have to do is read about how he was like, I don't like that person, go cut off their ears.
Like, I was so excited to like see a story about people resisting and rising up against horrible militaristic imperialism, and it wasn't us for once. And like when we treat the British like this, it's disingenuous, because during our British occupation thing, we were also the British, and we were also giant assholes. So we were all the British and wrong. So getting to watch somebody else do the British like this, and it counts, is amazing.
And boy, did they do it well. I really like when it's like, okay, we're gonna have the villains speak in English. Because obviously, I really appreciated like the back and forth of that.
Oh yeah, how they kept the languages up. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was really great.
There are some points where they cheated, and it's like, I guess that this person can now understand the Hindu.
Yeah.
Well, the Telugu, I think. Telugu? I don't know how to pronounce the word, but it's not like Hindu. It's,
Okay.
That's why it's Tollywood, because it's a different language.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I believe the audio for the Netflix version we watched was Hindi, which I think was dubbed.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, for Netflix at least, it was clearly dubbed.
Yes, it was obviously dubbed.
I assume movies out of there just always look dubbed. That's how I take it.
Oh,
like the
okay.
spaghetti
The mouths
western effect?
didn't match
Yeah.
up, so I was confused.
I also considered that possibility. Yeah.
There was that great block of text at the opening where it's like we set this movie during pre-independence India, which is an interesting way to phrase that. Indian history is not my forte at all, but they were like, we put it in India, except all of the tribes and the cultures and the languages and the people are fake. Everyone represented doesn't exist. Even the animals. The animals are double fake. So no one can get mad at us for anything that
I love
happens.
how they had to do that, and I'm like, why did you have to say, oh my god, the things you use animals for in this, for your
yeah,
set pieces, I get it.
It's fun. It's funny there how they're like it's fake, it's fake, it's all fake, and then both main characters were actual guys.
I thought it was interesting. I have to wonder if movies out there are like this. There were a ton of credits at the front. Like we
Right?
went to a lot of screens of that.
It's like 5 solid minutes of just, could you do like an establishing shot of some terrain or something, please?
No, black screen. That's all you get.
It threw me off because after I finished this film, and I had to tap out because it was very late, and this movie is over 3 hours long.
Oh yeah, I did it in 2
They
sittings.
do the, yeah, they. I went in this. I was in this mode where I'm watching it so late that I'm like, I'm not gonna want to wake up and watch a half of this, so I will do it in one. They do that like final dance sequence where they just do an entire song that even has the director of the film come out for a pop, and he also joins in on it. And when it's done, it's just a black screen with text and no sound for the actual credits. And I went, the shit's weird over there. I guess I'll leave now.
That reminds me, I saw some crossover with Jackie Chan doing a Indian movie. Like it was a team up, and it also had an ending very much like that, where it's like, this has nothing to do with the story or anything. We're gonna have a dance sequence now.
Yeah, they just have a musical number.
Yeah.
Like this is an industry that knows how to give people what the fuck they want.
Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all the songs in this, honestly, like all the musical sequences.
Yeah, they're good.
I thought they were all great, and I really loved them having the dance off with the evil British pencil neck.
Yeah, that one was absolutely the best
Yeah.
one of these. That also includes them doing the suspender dance, which is
Yes,
insane.
yes. I was losing it over the song they did when the dude's getting flogged.
Oh
Where it's
god,
just
right?
This dude's getting horribly, but he's going to song. I'm like, I don't know if this. No, this is great. Oh my god. Just watching his flesh getting ripped apart by a whip that has metal spikes in it. He's just doing his song.
My god, that woman.
Yeah, the evil governess just showing in the thorn whip from Castlevania.
What more
She's like,
blood?
he's not bleeding enough.
He's not kneeling. He hasn't knelt before the British crown yet.
That was the raw shit I think I've ever seen. Where she's like, look, and they cut to him just floating.
So I think it's safe to assume a lot of people listening to this probably won't have seen the movie. So I want to describe a little bit of the structure.
Yeah, sure.
So there was that opening scene I describe, and then we cut to a totally different scene of a British military outpost in some part of India, surrounded by an enormous mob,
Yeah, this was crazy.
Like-
It's some
like
Daisy shit.
100,000 people, massive. And they're all they're shaking like the poorly fortified chain link fences. All the British soldiers inside are pissing their pants. And one guy throws a rock and it hits like the logo of the crown or a picture of the queen. I forget which it is.
I think it was the king.
Yeah, it's a picture of the king.
Boy.
One of the Edwards?
So the commander points and says, "Arrest that guy," and he's in the middle of like 100,000 people. And all the British soldiers are looking at each other like, "Fuck, what are you insane?" But one of the Indian recruits, who is Raju, one of the protagonists of this movie, just goes for it, and we get like a Devil May Cry-esque sequence of him beating up 100,000 people.
I lost it. I that's what tells you the energy this movie is going out. When he jumps, and seemingly jumps like 50 feet to get in there and start doing combos, I now understand that this is going to be the best thing I've ever seen today.
I say he beats up 100,000 people, but it's plausible because they all pile on him and start hitting him. He's like, he gets bloodied. He isn't doing like Sauron moves from the flashback in Lord of the Rings where he swings his baton and 100 people go flying. No, he has to kind of take them on one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 5 minutes in. I'm like, am I supposed to be rooting for this guy?
I kind of am.
And so
It is very
you know, they
Yakuza
established yes it is. They established
just
that Raju's
the way they combo them. It's like crazy.
Mm-hmm. They established that Raju's like, you know, he's a traitor. He loves the British Army, even though they hate him. He doesn't get promoted for this.
Yes.
Holy shit!
And they find out that the guy who's the guardian of the tribe that had the little girl taken, they're like, he's gonna show up and fucking get her back, and that's Beam, who we introduce as him basically fighting a tiger.
Yes.
That was insane.
I need to talk about it. All the CG looks really bad. They use it for great
but it doesn't
effects,
matter.
But it should be noted.
Yeah,
it looks really bad.
It's like uniformly bad. And when they warn you up front, all of the animals are CG, and then you see how the rest of the movie is. You're like, okay, yeah, this is a world with CG animals.
Yes.
It's like an even like this is literally considered a maximalist movie because they're like, it's like, this looks fake, we don't care. It's not really it's like a Zack Snyder movie, except it goes even harder to even greater effect.
And the other thing that bothered me, they have motion interpolated slow-mo, meaning they make up frames for slow motion scenes that they really shouldn't. It's like, if that was just a lower frame rate, this would be better. Now I'm seeing weird outlines around people every time they go slow-mo.
Yeah, especially like one of the tigers going slow-mo. Just like, this is not the right number of frames.
Yes.
Although I will say the tracking and compositing on all the CG horses was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I don't remember being upset with the horses. I remember the train looking unacceptable. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, make sure that I have my bases covered with some things in this movie look terrible.
Yes, they do.
There's really no debating it. It looks terrible. I was fine with vibing with it because I've watched bad CG recently. I've watched stuff like Obi-Wan, and I'm used to some of the worst looking CG things on a budget I've ever seen.
This is a 3-hour movie on the scale of Avengers Endgame, but it cost a quarter of the amount of money.
Right.
Yeah.
But so we find out that Raju wants to become promoted to special officer. And they're like, whoever kidnaps the super badass who's coming to cause trouble will get promoted to special officer. So they meet and become friends, not knowing that Raju wants to arrest Beam. Like, that's his goal.
Yeah.
So some stuff happens. Raju gets poisoned. Beam cures him of his uncurable snake poison.
Yeah, he does it like in 10 minutes. It's great.
Like, not even the British have the cure for this.
Yeah, it's like the British don't know. You got to get like a burning piece of coal and then make it like melt and you drink it.
And Beam's like, I'm going to go tear shit apart in the governor's estate to get this girl back. And Raju, who is recovering, realizes that Beam is the person he has to arrest and has like a Chad fit beating up a punching bag and punching holes through walls in like raw fury that he has to betray his friend.
Oh my god, these two.
So then there's a big fight scene at the estate. By the way, best moment is during the anime OP sequence Bob mentioned, where Beam is doing squats with Raju on his shoulders. Like, this is how we work out.
Oh,
you didn't
like,
think it was
shit.
foreshadowing.
That scene, as I watched it, I was just like, if Star Wars Episode 2 had this, it would be the best
Obi-Wan
movie.
and Anakin.
Yes, and so we actually get an establishment of them being friends.
Like, yeah, that would be the moment where I'm like, I get it now. I get why this hurts you so much.
My god, this garden party fight it's cool as shit. Beam's intro shot for this is maybe the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I immediately became 13 when it happened. It was like the first time I watched somebody go Super Saiyan. Because like you saw him capture the tiger at the beginning of the movie, you know, all shirtless and sweaty and flexing, and it was great. And then like they hinted that he's still like they had the tiger. They had the tiger in the city. Like, oh fuck, what are you doing with that tiger? But then they crash an entire cargo truck through the gate. He swerves it. The tarpaulin flies off, and it's all just cages with tigers and leopards and deer and wolves, and they all fly out of the cages, and he flies out with them with 2 torches in his sweet costume change.
And then Raju shows up, and you get audience listeners. This movie has Virgil 2 in it.
It does.
Where they have a fucking rival boss fight where they go through like video game phases.
Yes.
Using different weapons on each other.
I think it's important to note the beginning of this film, after that intro thing that was labeled story with the giant title card, the part about Raju was fire. And then the one for Beam is water. And that, like, they hardcore go with those themes to the point this fight scene, they give Raju something that's on fire, and then a fountain gets torn apart, and Beam is fighting with a hose that has a rock stuck to it. It's intense.
This movie is so self-indulgent to a degree that I love it so much when it's like, the official title drop is 45 minutes into this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Like the official, here's our logo, you've begun, is 45 minutes in. And I love when that happens in any media.
And it should be it should be silly. This movie should come off as ridiculous and cartoonish, but it has such a depth to its emotional weight, especially in this rival fight. Like the whole opening is Beam being like, what the fuck are you doing here and why are you dressed as a cop? And Russia just not looking him in the eye. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, like you're like, okay, is Raju really just like a traitor? Like, and then after he defeats Beam and is arrested and he's gonna get executed, we get the Raju flashback, which is his whole plan has been to become a special officer so he can steal an entire shipment of guns and arm his village, because his village was attacked by the British when he was young and his dad got killed. And we also find out, no, he's an even bigger Chad because he can make any shot with a projectile weapon. Yeah, it's ridiculous because it's like, father, Raju took your rifle and shot it, and they show the target with a bullseye perfectly in the center, and the dad's like in disbelief, like, and you shot from those rocks? And the girl's like, no, he shot from there. Points to literally a mile away. It is like a hill that is on the horizon. You can barely see it. And we see a flashback of him taking the shot, and we get like the Resident Evil rocket cam, but for a bullet as it goes this way and hits
they
the target.
love doing that one.
So he has to, he saves Beam from being executed after whipping the shit out of him, by the way. They're like, okay, Beam needs to be flogged, so he has to do it. And then he has to do it with the fucking barbed wire whip. And then he realizes maybe being a cuck, even as an act, isn't a good idea. Because Beam starts a riot with his passionate song.
Yes.
Because this is the moment, like before, it's like, oh, one of them's good and one of them's an asshole. It's like, oh no, both these super chads are on the right side. Oh no.
Yeah, it's even more tragic because like they want the same thing, but he can't let him know.
Oh, there's one more thing I want to talk about in that insane assault scene on the British emissary, where he does the thing with all the tigers. A dude, just a random guard who's been there throughout the movie. We see him once in a while.
Oh yes.
He like locks the door to the embassy and then has a special gauntlet that holds the key inside it. Then Beam has to fight him, and it's like, what is happening? This is insane.
Oh, that was the part you wanted to point out? I meant the end of that sequence where like he fucking grabs him by the arm and throws him over, and his other arm lands on a deer antler and gets impaled.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh,
yeah, that was awesome.
Man,
really
that's
good.
a lot.
Right, and then the part where they introduced the Raja on the flaming chariot. Yeah. And every scene has like 100 different things happening that are all insane and you wouldn't believe.
So Raju has to flog Beam. We get the song where Beam makes everybody riot through his passion. Like, well, we're going to hang him. And he can't let his friend die, his new friend die. So he arranges the site of execution to change so he can interfere. But it fucks everything up. And not only does he get captured, Beam completely misinterprets what's going on because Raju has to take a shot in his direction, him with the little girl, at a British sniper. And he gets him, but Beam totally misinterprets it and hits him in the face and looks like he's gonna stab him with this big piece of wood, but he does the thing where he only stabs to the side of his face because he can't bring himself to kill him. We get some great scenes where Raju's, in prison working out even though he's not being fed at all.
Yes.
Like, where are you getting this protein, bro?
And then they're like, well, put him in the tiny hole. So he like folds himself up yoga style and does pull-ups in the tiny cell. Because it's like an underground cell.
After they get guns, after they get rifles and start beating the shit out of his legs.
Yeah, they just break his legs.
Just breaks his legs and then drop him in.
And Beam's on the run. And coincidentally meets Raju's fiance, who explains his entire backstory to Beam.
Without even knowing who he is at all. It's just like, oh, this just came up. Okay.
It's beautiful.
Well, it's like, he's on the run from the British military, so he can't be all bad.
Right.
They really have that moment where he has he's a part of my Nakama moment. I know the backstory. I will do whatever it takes to fix this.
Oh my god.
So then he goes back and we get maybe one of the greatest action scenes in movie history where he rescues them. And that's when we get he's on the shoulder dual wielding rifles as they kill basically the entire British military.
Yes.
When I went through this movie, I did not expect these two to solo everyone. So when they have the moment after they get through phase 1 of fucking them up in the forest and go, let's finish it. I'm like, well, what do you mean? What are you actually talking about?
Right, because the rest of the movie is a lot more for the real world. They have to worry about how to infiltrate this building. There's lots of concerns about someone could die. No. Now they're gods.
Yes. Now their friendship burns brightly.
They're like, you've watched 2.5 hours. We think you deserve what you exactly want this movie to do right now.
There's the piggyback riding with the rifles. There's the British send in their elite troops who are all on motorcycles.
And oh my god, like when a Western action star wants to take out a guy on a motorcycle, he might clothesline the guy off the motorcycle. When Beam takes out a guy on a motorcycle, he clotheslines the motorcycle.
Yes.
Or oh no, this guy got knocked out and had an entire belt of grenades. I guess after Raju has now gotten the war paint to model himself after a god.
And took the bow the statue had.
He's like, oh, he's Rama now. We're just doing that, huh?
Yeah, when they showed that statue earlier in the movie, I was like, they aren't just going to take the bow, right? And then, of course, they do.
Do some Rambo 2 shit.
So many great parts of this action scene, like where Raju shoots an arrow through a tree and it almost kills a British guy and he's all freaked out. Then Raju jumping kicks the arrow to shove it through his eye.
Yeah, we're gonna attach the grenade to this arrow to just start bombing every person on a motorcycle.
Beam's gonna pick up a motorcycle and swing it around like a bat.
Yeah.
Yes. All the motorcycle throwing stuff he did was insane. But I also enjoyed when he has a spear and one of the main British bad guys who's in the forest just turns around a corner. And then we cut to a wide shot of he's already been stabbed by Beam. There was no action leading up to it.
You see a drop of blood on his face and it's like, oh shit, what? Oh my fucking god. The way he gets that spear killed me. Where it flies out from a Raju exchange, lands in the water, and is immediately picked up under the water.
And the music the whole time is that really literal, and then Beam picks up a spear and fucking kills everyone.
Yeah, he rises out of the water like the next coming of Christ, ready to unleash his new power-up.
I think that this is back during the scene where they realized Raju had betrayed the British government. The evil governor, his car gets like knocked over by a tree.
Oh my god!
He flies out of his car mid-flight, pulls up that insane sniper rifle, and it like shoots Raju.
It's like Trinity from the Matrix.
Yes,
shit.
dude. This came out. This for people who haven't seen this film. It comes out like an ejector seat of a jet plane, where he shoots straight up, but doesn't lose composure. Just immediately goes and's like, this is the game-winning hit in a Call of Duty match. I'm gonna perfectly shoot this to launch the people in the other car out.
Yeah, he does
immediately get them fucking killed.
It's like 360 no scoped it.
like the one bullet somehow did the Rube Goldberg machine of destroying literally everything in its path. So they have no problem making even the villains almost mythical in their skill set.
Yes.
And then they're like, we got to get rid of the British once and for all, or at least this part of them. So they throw a flaming motorcycle into the barracks and set all the ammo on fire, which blows up the entire fucking estate and kills the evil British woman. She's like impaled on like a cross.
Right?
Yeah, and
It's
wrapped in wire. Just the most ridiculous death scene you could imagine.
reaching down like it's some pre-Raphaelite shit. It's this beautiful tableau.
Yeah, it's like the blood is running down her finger, and that's how the evil governor knows. Looks up, and she's been mummified in barbed wire.
And then Raju has Beam execute him with an English rifle while reciting the shit about the British bullet being worth £1 to him. And we get this unbelievable shot where it holds on the fucking logo while saying the sun will never set on the British Empire.
Interestingly, it says English, and I've like that phrase is the sun never sets on the British Empire because it is the British Empire. I think they put English in this movie just as like a knife twist. Like, no, the Irish are cool. Everybody else on that island is cool. Fuck you guys.
I like your reading way more.
That would be funny if they saw basically every single white person in this movie being from Ireland. Like, we'll change it a little for you. We know what you went through.
Yeah.
Oh my! We didn't talk at all about Beam's love interest.
Because she's like barely in the movie. It's like he realizes she's racist and that's it for her.
No, she sticks with him.
She does?
Yeah, because
I forgot. Okay, I got mixed up.
Are you talking about like the good white person in the movie?
Yeah.
the
Jenny.
one good white person.
Yeah, she's in the
I
final
got her
dance
mixed up.
sequence with everyone else just hanging out.
Yeah, it's insane because their entire relationship, they can't communicate. So he's just like, Beam just does a weird head shake, and I guess that's enough. She's in love.
But like at the end, she's like,
she likes.
Hey, have you seen? Did you see him without a shirt? I mean,
know,
come
right?
on.
like she gives
of
him
course.
like here's the blueprints of the prison. Don't ask where I got them. And in that moment, I'm like, we never really established that she was anything more than just not a super racist asshole. So,
Yeah, she didn't get like an arc. It was very bizarre.
So it was like, no, I think you're a person. I'm not going to help you like undermine British authority in the region. What?
But I guess it went that far.
It did.
It is funny how that they have a good white person in this movie. It is very because the whole time I kept waiting for, okay, where's the point where she's like, I was only treating you as a person for my own self-edification.
I mean, there's got to be one, right? You got to have that token good white person. She's one of the good ones.
And then of course the movie has the credits dance scene, which is of course great.
Whew, that was, I mean, look, for a movie about resisting British imperialism, that ending was like a whiplash of Indian nationalism that I was not prepared for. Like they start popping side profiles like it's 1970s Soviet propaganda.
Yeah, I didn't recognize those figures. Are those just like Indian government officials?
Not according to the opening card at the beginning of this movie.
Gotcha.
I just like the lyrics going, with us, everyone's an Iron Man or something.
Yeah, it was some real Soviet era stuff.
In some scenes, they have like farming tools.
Mm-hmm.
So So it's like, wow, this really is like a Soviet propaganda. And I'm like, good. That's what we need. And I'm really glad that I saw all the articles I saw the article from Rob Toombs complaining about this, about how no, we weren't that bad. And I'm like, oh my god, shut the fuck up.
Hashtag not all Englishmen.
You had Jenny. Live with that.
It's so fucking funny. No, guys, we wouldn't steal children.
Yeah, you pay £2 for them, right?
You don't understand. When the Amritsar massacre happened, we also thought it was bad. Winston Churchill condemned it in Parliament. We fired the guy responsible.
Look, mistakes were made. Are you going to apologize for having a global empire? No, that part was rad as hell.
Of course. I think this is the most glamour shots of a muscular man who is hairy I've seen in anything. Like, usually
Yes,
you don't
actually.
get someone this hairy for that.
You also don't usually see like men who are this, like I am a giant Northern European descended sort of dude, and that's a lot of Western, especially Western media's ideal of what masculine is. So it's really cool to see guys who are under like 6'2" get this treatment.
I didn't think about that, but yes.
It also like this is maybe the best example of like hyper masculine friendship I've ever seen. Like this is like I said before, this is some Gilgamesh and Enkidu shit. This is like back in like ancient Greek. Like, yes, let's all be oiled up and muscular on the beach, and maybe we'll have sex, but it's not gay if we do, or maybe it is. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, it slays me that the 2 stars of this are 5'6" and 5'8", and I'm like, I couldn't tell it all from these shots.
No, I would not.
Like
I didn't even think of that.
Beam looks enormous in every shot he's in, and he's 5'6".
I don't know if I wasn't paying attention, if it was the costuming, the way they shot it, and how Raju just gets like super fucking swole for the last scene. Like, where did these guns come from, bro?
Yeah, Raju was definitely the more ripped of the two, but it did feel like bigger for that. I don't know. The emphasis was definitely put there because they usually have him wearing a shirt.
I can't. Every time I think back to the fact that he's just Rama for the last half hour of this movie, and the last shot is him getting off the boat in his village, and it's just Rama handing out machine guns to the Indians. Like, yes, this is amazing. It's really funny when it's not your country doing this kind of potentially sinister nationalistic imagery. So you get to laugh.
Yeah, we were on the exact same wavelength.
Yeah, because we know that the villains were the gigantic global spanning empire, unlike if this was a movie about something in American history where the villains would be like a group of 10 people.
Right? Like, we keep having to invent secret conclaves of Nazi survivors to put in different historical periods so that we can still be the good guys.
Right. Secret. When's the American movie where the heroes just have to fight NASA in 1948?
So like I said before, this was my first I had said Bollywood because that's
But it's Tollywood.
right. There's apparently many more woods than I was aware of.
I wish that was a thing in America. We could do with having like 3 other Hollywoods
Yeah.
with their own cultures.
Well,
and
Sorry,
actor pools.
we had that light bulb fucker who ruined everything for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Like that's literally why movies came up in California, It was people literally moving as far away from Edison's lawyers as they could to set up shop.
That's really funny. I never
Wow.
knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
He really tried to be the only person allowed to make movies for a while there.
I was wondering what's connection here. Oh, that's insane.
That is insane. So, frankly, as soon as I can, I'm gonna go watch this director's other movies. At least his 2-part fantasy epic.
Oh yeah.
How much this dude seems this dude? I wonder how he feels being like, yeah, 3 of the top 5 highest grossing movies of all time are mine. In my Indian movies ever are me.
I mean, you can see it in the confidence with which he makes these films.
Yes. You know, this is 3 hours, but I don't feel like it didn't feel like a drag.
It did not.
I did pause it to get some food in the middle because I was really hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I didn't feel like I needed to stop.
Yeah. I was in a place in my life where I could not move from where I was at. But at no point did I think even about checking my phone, which I'll do occasionally when I'm watching something, basically anything else. But this held me. It would not let go.
Yeah, so something great happens like every 2 minutes. It's amazing. It's like I'm not sure how to describe the difference. Maybe there's a lack of artifice about how this movie was made. It's very plain in what it does. It goes, okay, this is the thing that's happening now. It's very cool and interesting. I didn't need a camera trick to make it cool and interesting. I didn't need music to make it cool and interesting. It just is really cool and interesting because I'm not a sourpuss who thinks that everything childish needs to be shied away from, or that everything needs to be really grounded and serious in order to take it seriously. Like India just didn't have a 90s comic bubble burst adversely affect their culture for the rest of time, and it has allowed them to make amazing media.
It really does feel like cartoon isn't really the right word. It feels like the word is mythic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That is the whole tone. It's like, this is like the guy who directed Mad Max in what is possibly a bid to just get out in front of any continuity errors said, like, no, the movie you're watching isn't the movie about Max Rakitansky. It's the legend of Max Rakitansky they tell around the campfire. And I started to think about that watching this movie until, Rama shows up at the last part of it. So I'm like, oh no, this is literally just a myth. This is myth telling. This is amazing.
Yeah, I know that they specifically set this movie during the time where nobody knew what these two guys were doing.
And also Sherlock Holmes was there.
If only.
I think the director was like, well, I don't know about a sequel. It's kind of just a story. But the actors wanted to do a sequel, so sure, do a sequel where Sherlock Holmes is the Virgil.
Could you imagine a ripped Sherlock Holmes they have to fight?
Sherlock Holmes and not Winston. Watson, yeah, they're like the opposing tag team.
But they're really more like work friends, so their friendship isn't as true and muscular.
And then at the end, they have to team up to stop Moriarty, who's even more evil and British.
Moriarty, consulting imperialist. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say about this nonstop rocket ride of fun new cultural experiences?
I want to say even when it looks bad or the fight scenes aren't choreographed as well as what you see of like Hong Kong, it's still really fun. Like there's still an air about it that has, like they're saying, a mystical tone where it doesn't matter if that shot was done right and if everything linked up in a way that you would want it to. What's happening is insane. That's all. Like, I wouldn't go in here expecting like the best of a kung fu movie. Just still be excited.
Yeah, Be excited when they pick up that fucking tiger and throw it.
Right.
I'm not looking for the best choreography in the world. I just want you to activate Yakuza Zero's beast mode so you can pick up anything you want.
Right. Like if you're like me and you don't have any experience with Indian cinema, I can't speak for any other Indian movie, but if you're like me, go watch this. You are going to see a bunch of shit you've never seen before.
Yeah, that's really what made it great. I was so different from every other thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, when that shot of the 10,000 people like rioting happened, I was like, I've never seen anything like this before.
And a cast of thousands. Okay, so it's probably about time to start wrapping this up. We are going to go around for summaries and then a final score. And then someone who has access to that document should probably...
I'm on it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Casey.
Yep, I prepped this and put it in a section down here for Dan to fix later.
All right. Casey, since you're so prepared, how about you go first?
This was great. I loved every second of this, going in completely blind, not even knowing what this was. You were just like, we're going to do content on this. I'm like, I'll check it out. This was great. This was wonderful. Just the action was explosive. It was so self-indulgent. It was an anime. I have no real problems with this. Even the bad CG, I'm like, whatever. They're throwing tigers. I'm giving this a 10.
All right. Mr. Feel.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 10. I feel like this is exactly the movie I needed to see after, one, watching a lot of horrible things for content, and two, just genuinely being sick of how often I watch movies and someone will look at the camera and say something snide. This is a movie.
Yes.
This is a reality where that cannot happen.
Yes.
All right. Bob.
Let me see. I like this a lot. This is really good stuff. I'm going to give it a 9. I feel like I could imagine the same movie, just a little better. And it's those few CG shots that are extra bad.
Yeah, it's understandable.
So I'm going to leave it at that, but I do really love this. It's so different, like everyone's saying. It doesn't feel like any other movie you've seen, probably.
Yeah,
I definitely just go watching. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix and worth watching. That's a high bar.
Yeah, that's such a shock.
Go watch it while Netflix is still a thing.
They don't even tell you about what the movie is. I clicked into it and it's like, this Tollywood film set the world on fire when it hit streaming. That's all I knew about the movie.
God, they're so bad at so many key things. Okay, so as for myself, as a person who is basically immune to bad CG, I don't have a part of my brain that notices it.
Uh-huh.
And as someone who has stated previously that I am always a fan of something that just takes a huge fucking swing.
Yes.
Like this is the most shocking sincerity I've seen in media in a long time. I'm gonna have to give it a 10. This movie set out to do some crazy shit, and it did it. And my life is better for having seen it. So, KZ, if you want to put that American school system education to the test and add up all these crazy numbers.
Okay, looking at our data here, it seems that this effortlessly, with 4 people, out of a possible score of 40, got a 39. That beat out the last thing I think we spoiler casted, which was that Resident Evil Netflix thing. They got a 5.
It's a narrow margin. It was respectable.
A 5 across 5 people, so not 4. So
5 across
a little bit of a
5
handicap.
people on an average score of 1 for people. For reference, I gave that a 0. This is effortlessly beating things that had 5 people in it. Like so often. This is one of our higher tiered things. Holy shit. It is. This was so good.
Has anything outscored this?
Like in terms of like getting a perfect 13 Sentinels did.
Yeah.
In terms of like a game. In terms of like media, no, the only thing close to it is the Batman.
You heard it here.
If we delete Dan's score and said, imagine if we only did the Batman with this won by 1 point because Bob gave that Nate. So there you go. There's our hierarchy we got going on here. Absolutely watch this, even though you heard all of the details, because seeing them in motion is the fucking coolest shit you've ever seen.
We've been talking for slightly less than an hour. That's not even a third of this movie. So
yeah, by the time this podcast ends, that's when the title would pop up for the movie.
Yeah. Every sequence we mentioned, there's like a dozen other things in it we didn't mention.
Yeah, we didn't cover like fucking 60% of the action that you get treated to.
Even that dance-off has so much more we didn't talk about.
Yeah, like this movie was like 2 seasons of prestige streaming television crammed into 3 worthwhile hours.
Yes.
This is like the positive good version of when we said that the Rise of Skywalker is trying to condense 18 things at once.
yeah, this is like the version of that is actually good instead of just funny because of how incompetent it is.
Yeah, that's like that's the team dark side. This is the team hero.
Again, they just need to apparently let all the Star Wars films be remade in Tollywood.
God.
What I would do to see them do something like that.
Honestly, like it would help with a lot of my cynicism with Hollywood if they just got some foreign directors and like, go, you're in charge. We won't interfere. Make something wildly different.
Right.
I believe that's everything required by my contract. So on behalf of everybody here at the GigaBoots Podcast Network, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this Spoilercast. And I can't wait for somebody in the comments section to reveal some horrible political scandal about the making of this movie that makes us liking it bad people.
I think it's more likely it'll just be crying British people.
Nice.
This month's GigaBoots videos were brought to you by the continued support of our executive producers, such as Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Burning Pepsi Man, Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, and Virmvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these gamers. If you want to support GigaBoots so we can continue the content crunch, then head on over to patreon.com/GigaBoots today.